Hi, this is Tamara Mills again with the Late Great USA Part 4. Yeah, I'm so excited. We found a way to get this up and loaded within a very short amount of time. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Waiting for this stuff to upload overnight was just like, oh, really? So, I'm sorry. Woo! Isn't it wonderful to have techie friends? Okay, I'm sorry. 2 years ago, there were 5 countries supporting terror and pursuing weapons of mass destruction. 2 junior leaguers, Libya and Syria, and the axis of evil varsity, Iraq, Iran, and Korea. Don't you just love how he phrases that? The Bush administration has just eliminated 2, Iraq by direct military means, and Libya by example and intimidation. Syria is weak and deterred by Israel. North Korea, having gone nuclear, is untouchable. I'm going to check something real quick. Yes, okay. That leaves Iran. What to do? There are only 2 things that will stop the Iranian nuclear program: revolution from below or an attack on its nuclear facilities. Now, in the summer of 2006, Israel went to war against the Shiite organization Hezbollah and its nearby rocket arsenal. And the one leading expert on Israel national defense policy says that this was more than simply a defensive response to protect Israeli security, pointing to evidence of a much more ambitious objective: the weakening of Iran's deterrent to an attack on its nuclear sites. The belief is the aim of the Israeli campaign against Hezbollah was to change the U.S. administration's mind about attacking Iran. This could be playing into the Israeli decision to renew these attacks in early 2009. Israel's main purpose in meetings with the Bush administration was clearly to push the United States to agree to use force, if necessary, and to stop Iran's uranium enrichment program, which, of course, then has failed, and they've gone ahead with it, and so on and so forth. The stage is being set for another American-led attack into the Middle East, but this time at the center of the axis of evil is the nation of Iran. Because of continuing uncertainties of the ongoing situation in Iraq and the American public's souring toward that conflict, it'll be hard for any administration to mobilize a strong consensus for war with Iran. Then again, Obama doesn't really seem to care one way or the other whether anybody approves of what he's doing. He just does it. While there's no doubt that the U.S. is technologically superior and more powerful militarily than Iran, a public outcry of war with that country doesn't seem imminent. But as evidence mounts for the terrorist designs of Iran, this could change. The American people could be moved to outrage at a moment's notice if some massive new terrorist action within the U.S. is linked to Iran. The prophecy of Daniel 8 says the 2 horns of the ram are demolished. The U.S. military defeat of Iraq and Saddam Hussein was the crushing of the first horn. The second horn, apparently Iran, will also be crushed, as the evidence presented here has shown. There is already posturing towards that end. And just to mention something dealing with the Middle East right now, Syria, because of the fact that they have used chemical warfare against their own people. I posted on my group in Facebook, God's Last Call, which is stemming from my pastor's ministry. it doesn't seem like Syria and Damascus is going to last much longer. And that is direct Bible prophecy. And when you see things like that and know that it's in the Bible, it's like, whoa. You just have to sit back and just go, wow. Because we have been duped so many times. Not by the Bible, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. By people saying, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And of course it doesn't happen. But so we are conditioned to be a doubting Thomas, to sit back and just go, uh-huh, yeah, right, whatever. I'll believe it when I see it. Believe it, folks, because this stuff is happening. It's happening right now. Prophecy all over the place is being fulfilled. And in Syria, it's getting ready to, Damascus is getting ready to be a ruinous heap. Of course, to me, it already is. Have you seen the pictures of what war has done to that city? It's like, really? It's horrifying. And to know that stuff like this is going to come down, I just don't understand how anybody could doubt. I don't. Because it's right there. It's happening. There it is. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. So what does the prophecy say will happen if the U.S. does overpower Iran? The U.S. will become very proud. Verse 8 says, therefore the he-goat waxed very great. If the U.S. is led to attack and immobilize Iran, there will be a tendency to rejoice like this is some kind of a football contest. His words, not mine. We'll be so proud of our Super Bowl sting of these Islamic dogs. That's an insult to dogs everywhere. Beware when you see the U.S. in its next victory dance of this type, when the second horn is crushed, because verse 8 also succinctly says that when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Now here is the plain biblical revelation of the fate of the U.S. The symbolism of the great horn, the U.S. being broken, is a very graphic picture of the economic collapse of the U.S. That is what is depicted by the symbolism of a horn being broken. Almost lost my computer. Sorry about that. The horn is not vaporized. The U.S. will still exist. But if the economy of the U.S. suffers a massive depression, the whole world will be weakened and the U.S. will suffer what all countries experience in such a depression. There will be a massive loss of power, and the subsequent vacuum will quite likely be filled by an authority structure alien to the American model of representative democracy. This topic is one that arises in our study of Revelation 13, to which we'll turn to in chapter 2. Given the huge decline of the U.S. economy in 2008, a likely fulfillment of this prophecy would be in this sequence. The U.S. overpowers Iran. There's great rejoicing, therefore the he-goat waxed very great. This leads to a great resurgence in the stock market and the economy generally. Then comes the economic collapse. Jesus talked about the purpose of prophecy when he said, and now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it does, you may believe. John 14:29. Thus, one of the purposes of prophecy is not so much that we might have a crystal ball to know the future, but through the proclamation of prophecy, people will come to faith when the prophecy does come to pass. Therefore, when you have some people that are kind of, I don't know, I'm not so sure, and they know about this prophecy, and this stuff happens, oh wow, right, that was right on the button. I believe, I believe. I know it's strange, but that could be how it works, and so long as we get them to that point, that works, right? He says, I hope that the obliteration of Iran by the U.S. does not happen and that peaceful solutions can be found for the tensions between these nations. I hope that the U.S. economy recovers and doesn't ultimately collapse. In my heart, I hope that the interpretation of Daniel 8 offered here is wrong. But as I stated in the introduction of this work, I'm an American with pride in our nation's creed and the liberties we have long guaranteed our citizens. No patriot longs to see the demise of his country. But my fidelity to my nation cannot stand equal to my attempt to be faithful to God. And what I see in the pages of the Bible, I'm trying to faithfully render in these pages what the message of the Bible seems to be. I'm putting this into print so that others may have the chance to see what I'm seeing. Not everyone will see things as I do, but I must still be true to what I believe the Scripture's saying and what I believe is a word from God for all our time. Let us then continue this pursuit of America's place in Bible prophecy by looking into Revelation chapter 13. Now, in Revelation 13, and this is chapter 2, two beasts arise before John's eyes. While God communicates in the Bible through stories, poetry, law, history, and narrative, there seems little doubt that he's communicating here by cartoon symbolism. These beasts represent nations that are powerful, monstrous, one rising from the sea and the other from the land. The beast from the sea rises first and is described in verses 1 through 10. It's certainly heaven's intention that the Bible students unpack the symbolism of lion, leopard, and bear in this first beast. This vision was given by God to Gabriel, to John, to us, and it is meant to be understood. These beasts appear in Daniel chapter 7 as distinct, separate animals. But here in Revelation 13, they're intertwined into one amalgamated beast, like a chimera. This fact is an argument in favor of finding modern equivalents to these symbols. Most interpreters of Daniel 7 say that the lion, leopard, and bear represent Babylon, Greece, and Medo-Persia. But since the animals seem to be presented sequentially and chronologically in that order, this is a rational conclusion. But in Revelation 13, the three animals form one corporate beast. Now, this would seem to indicate that the nations represented by these animals are operating in confederacy and simultaneously. I'm going to stop right here and start on number 5. Woohoo!